Story 3. Quizdom. Hi, and welcome back to Question That. I'm Big Ernie Rich, and this is the show that can get you on that dream holiday you always dreamed of, plus a cool £1 million thrown in, said Ernie with his signature wink. We're here with John from Manchester, who has made his way to the final round. Forced crowd applause. The 5-question word filler. Answer these 5 questions correctly, and that prize is yours. How are you feeling at this stage, John? A little panicky, said John coyly. Oh, I'm sure you'll do fine, reassured Ernie with a Ken doll smile. So tell the viewers at home, the holiday you selected is your dream holiday, John, yelled Big Ern. Well, it's the wife's choice, really. She's always fancied Las Vegas. She's a bit of a gambling woman. She already owes 13 grand to the dodgy bookmaker, so that's what we're going for, Ern. It's also a great place for me to show her the desert, replied John, pushing his glasses up the bridge of his nose menacingly. Oh, I get where you're coming from there, John, said Big Ern with a chuckle. John flinched a little as Big Ern massaged his neck quite roughly in all the excitement. Okay, John, here are your final 5 questions for that holiday and that huge stack of cash. Take your place on my hotspot, John. Good luck. Can we have 60 seconds on the timer, please? Said Ern quite seriously, changing one of his many game show host facial expressions. Question 1. A form of identity that enables you to cross borders. Blank port. John hesitated. Pass. Okay, John. Second question. I must take the first answer that comes from your mouth, John. John nodded nervously in acknowledgement to Big Ern's ruling. The computer's voice echoed from the quiz screen. The sound of a loud ticking clock was amplified in John's ears. Beads of sweat began to form on his forehead. Question 2. Name the exotic fruit, a sexy-sounding word, that could be used in the heat of blank, I-O-N. Now let's see, said John, rubbing his fingers over his chin. Keep an eye on the clock, John. 32 seconds. Big Ern gestured camply from the right of the stage, watching John on his hotspot. Pass. John huffed and hung his head low. Okay, stop the timer, shouted Ern. Now you're 60 seconds in, John. Keep focused on the game. You've passed on your first 2 questions, but that doesn't mean you're wrong. Your next 3 questions are going to be considerably more difficult. So take a breather, and when you're ready, slide yourself back on my hotspot, said Big Ern as he made his way back to the side of the stage. John squinted as a beam of light glared through his spectacle lens, as the studio lights reflected off Big Ern's silver-sequined suit. John's heart pounded. It all seemed like slow motion. He felt nauseous as the loud ensemble of audience noise filled his ossicles. Stepping back onto the hotspot, John composed himself and readied for the final 3. The computer spewed out its electronic voice. Question 3. A popular song by musical youth. A cooking pot was being distributed. It traveled pon the left-hand side. The phrase, blank, the duchy. John stared at the question. He might as well have been staring at a wormhole equation. He just didn't know. Pass, he shouted erratically. Eerie music plus the ticking timer engulfed John's senses. Sweat dripped from every orifice. All he could think of was his wife beating him once again with a rolling pin. She said if you don't bring me back that money and that holiday, she would start using the knives. He felt dizzy and tight-chested as he prepared himself for question 4. It sounded to John like the voice was now mocking him as the computer spoke once more. Question 4. Often referred to a highway or a section of a highway that passes around an obstructed or congested area, and a medical term for an alternative passage created surgically to divert the flow of the blood is called a blank. The tension in the audience was electric. Time, John. 10 seconds. Big Ern jabbed his finger towards the timer in a kind of Hitler salute fashion. It didn't bode well for John, as it gave him flashbacks of the war. It was all too much. He managed to shout, "Pass!" on question 4, as he clutched his chest and fell to the floor. Big Ern let out a girlish scream. The audience gasped. The computer, unaware of the errors of the human body, carried on with the final question. Question 5. Following an accident and some health issues, some people become unconscious when a person is unable to respond to people and activities. It is also a song title by Tiny Tempa. Blank out. "Could somebody turn off that goddamn video screen?" yelled Big Ern as he tried to resuscitate John. The cameras went off air at the beginning of the incident whilst Ern administered CPR. It was no use. It was a cardiac arrest. John's arteries would take no more. Big Ern straightened his hair and prepared himself to go back live on the air. Just a minor glitch for the underpaid, famous game show host. Hi, and we're back. Sadly, viewers, we are going to have to cut this week's show short, due to an incident with one of our players tonight. Nothing to worry about. The ambulance crew are taking good care of him, said Ern with his concerned game show face, as the Undertaker zipped up the body bag backstage. For those of you at home who wondered how John got on with his questions, he managed to get the right answer from 1 through 4, but unfortunately, he didn't manage to answer question 5. Question that quiz rule states that an unanswered question will be classed as a pass, therefore rendering the game as a loss. But tune in next week as 3 more contestants go head-to-head to win their dream holiday plus a ridiculous amount of money. So don't just dream that holiday. Ern paused and waved his hand over the audience as they finished off his catchphrase, "Win it!" "And cut!" shouted the director. Big Ern's cell phone vibrated inside his sparkly blazer pocket. The caller ID displayed, "Bitch." He made his way backstage, answering the call. "I told you he would mess this up. He's an imbecile. Now he's dead," seethed Big Ern down the phone. The chance to get a split of John's winnings was gone. Big Ern hung up on his sister. The drunken bitch could never get anything right, and her boyfriend was the perfect example.